Today we continue our seasonal dive into indie horror games and cover a game you likely have never heard of. It simply wouldn't be on your radar due to the lack of popularity it's seen on Steam, with only a handful of reviews to its name. With that said, the reviews it has received are pretty promising. So today we cover Again and Again. This game is brought to you by a developer who goes by the name of Perspectic, which may or may not be a play on words with perspective. Either way, this game appears to be the dev's first release on Steam, so congratulations on that accomplishment in itself. This game seems to follow the journey of a young girl named Lily. Unfortunately for Lily, her journey is cut short, as she is sadly slain by her stepmother Maria. Furthermore, it appears that Lily was tortured before she met her eventual demise. As you play through the game, you begin to put together piece after piece of the puzzle, and begin to form an idea of truly what has happened here. The majority of the gameplay takes place in an apartment building that slowly changes over time. Some things will remain constant as you explore each room, however, watch out for the changes, because they lurk behind every single door you open. The game slightly reminds me of another horror game on Steam called Mists of Aiden. If anyone's ever played that game, the premise differs a little bit, but it's similar in the sense that you are constantly entering the same building over and over again, and what you find is different every single time. Now, was Maria just a vicious person with a thirst for blood? Is there something more going on here? Let's dive into it. Admittedly, at first I was a bit worried about this game. I think the very first scare felt a lot like a JPEG image jump scare, and I was thinking to myself, oh boy, I have made a big mistake trying to cover this. However, I stuck with it, and I found that the game had a lot more depth to it than I originally thought. It has the ability to make you weary of turning corners. It creates tension as previously safe areas turn against you. And oh yeah, we know that we already have a potential demon doll on our hands, which what is a horror game without one of those? Now, Perspective was even able to make atmospheric changes that transform the standard apartment into a stunning visual scene. My personal favorite being the satanic looking dining room that you walk into after venturing into that room many times, and which generally looked like a pretty standard dining room the first couple times you walk through it. Now, the game itself doesn't take very long to complete. About an hour and a half of gameplay will be required to get to the ending part. So I like to think of it as, once again, you're buying a ticket to a movie, right? But you actually have some control over how that movie progresses. So with it being a shorter game, I don't want to give away too much, so let's jump into my personal thoughts about the game. I think you need to put this game in perspective. Yeah, okay, bad joke. But anyways, I truly think you need to look at this game while considering its price point. With it only being $5, I find a lot of value here for just a Benjamin. Is it the most polished game? No. I had an odd audio glitch while walking around that sounded like I was turning a page of a textbook. I don't think it took away from my experience too much, but I did notice it. I think it also felt like the ending could have been slightly more intense. There was this build-up that just never felt like it reached its true apex. However, there are a couple theories as to why the game ended the way it did, so unfortunately I can't tell you them without spoiling too much, but just know the ending might not have been a lack of scare, but more of an artistic decision. Those two things aside, the scares get your heart racing, the storyline is easy to follow and fun to progress, and there are even some minor puzzles to solve, so you're actively participating and not just walking through a movie-like game. When all's said and done, I think we found a bit of a hidden gem here that could easily satisfy the fall craving for fear. With all the games we look at, it is time to give the game a rating out of 10. Again and Again is a short experience that is well worth your $5, regardless of the lack of publicity it's seen. I believe Again and Again is deserving of a 7.2 out of 10. This game makes me excited to see what this game dev comes out with next, because this was a pretty solid effort for what appears to be someone's first release on Steam. That pretty much wraps up today's video though. What should we play next? Please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things indie. Alright, thanks everyone. This has been your game preview of Again and Again.